right, we are at the National Restaurant Association show. I'm here with Chad from Devour. Chad, how are you?
Troy, I am fantastic. This is so awesome how this came together today.
This is very cool. We are just grabbing the innovative and thought leadership in this show, sitting down and having some basic conversations about what's going on, what's new in the world, what are they working on, and what do restaurant operators need to know. So Chad, what is Devour?
Devour is the company that is driving Web3 for restaurants. And if you don't know what Web3 is, it is this massive sea change category of technologies that is going to impact every industry, including this one.
So Web3, and then we're going to talk about NFTs, and we're going to try to figure out in this conversation, why does a 1 to 10 or 100 unit restaurant operator need to even know what that is? So break this down real basic for us. What is Web3? And then how does that translate into actionable things? What are we working with if we're a restaurant?
Absolutely. So Web3, I think about it as the evolution, right? So Web 1, when websites were first on the scene, it was about getting information. Web 2's dominant theme was around sharing that information on social platforms. So Web 3 is characterized by ownership of information and content. And so without going all into the details, I want to quickly let people know why does it even matter, right? So in this space, one of the most shining examples was the Fly Fish Club. They did something that restaurants have been doing for a long time, which is create a membership-only restaurant. But they tokenized membership, and they put that out there on the blockchain as an NFT. In so doing, they've now raised $20 million in capital for a restaurant that is yet to open.
Right.
That's the power of Web3. And there's so many different applications that restaurants can enact or look forward to, but right there is a perfect example of why it matters.
Well, and let's talk about the application as a brand, right? So for operators and brands to understand, they all have loyalty, right? And that's utility. That's making a connection with your brand in a mechanism of utility called loyalty. It's points, Starbucks, it's stars, whatever that mechanism is. So tell us about NFTs for restaurants as loyalty, but then tell us about beyond that, because this is much more than using a tool or a new membership card, which is what I think a lot of people think when they think of the Fly Fish Club program, but if you really dig in, there's a lot more to that.
Yep. NFTs for loyalty can mean a lot of things. So it ties all to the brand strategy. Who are their guests? What do they like about the brand? What kind of relationship are they building towards? NFTs for loyalty, I view as an amplification of the things that guests relate to a brand around. So NFTs are about membership and access largely. So if you have a fan base that you let's say characterize 30% of them or 10% even as a cult following or a passionate fan base, you can use NFTs to manage that relationship community and access so that you can give your most passionate fans something that's going to take them from a passionate fan to whatever the next level is. And then they're out there being ambassadors for your brand and sharing your brand like you wouldn't believe because you tapped into that energy with the power of NFTs.
Well, and one thing that I like, some people like Gary Vaynerchuk and David Rodolitz from VCR Group, which you referenced for Fly Fish Club, and others that are getting into the space now, I really like that there's more of a focus on community. There's more of a focus of activating your brand.
Absolutely.
And you just touched on a point that if you have fans, how can you activate them, but also how can you reward them, right? Beyond points or discounts or whatever, it is possible with an NFT project to have them have ownership.
Yes.
Right? And through your success, through their effort driving success, they have some ownership, meaning they can reap rewards financially or otherwise through that ownership of that token in this project. Can you touch a little bit more on how you think about that at Devour?
Yeah, so I sometimes will refer to an NFT as like, in the context of loyalty, as a loyalty status you can own. So think about how much brands already value gift cards, for example, and the amount of revenue that brings in. And the kind of relationships it creates out there with consumers. Like you can give somebody a gift card for their birthday, Christmas, etc. What if you could give somebody a loyalty status to a brand that they love? They go, oh my gosh, you mean I get I own a piece of this restaurant, and then now I can make a reservation at exclusive time slots that are otherwise really hard to get. Or when I go there, I get access to this secret menu that's just for me.
Right.
That's what I kind of think of when I think about ownership and loyalty, how those tie together. And then that person, let's say they go, you know what? Oh, this restaurant I love, this loyalty status, I'm moving away. I got it, but like normally, or that would die on the vine and just be like this lost thing.
Have no value after
they
the
can
fact.
leave it to a family member or a friend,
Or sell it.
Or sell it. Like, your point well taken, right? Like, and that's the kind of ownership that blockchain allows, and the kind of experiences that would have otherwise not been heard of.
Well, and while you were talking, one thing that came to mind is, hotels and airlines already have done this, right? There's platinum and gold and silver and all these other levels of status that unlock different things, different accesses to lounges or discounts or points at exclusive luxury resorts, etc. So what is Devour doing, or how does Devour make this accessible for restaurateurs?
So the way we make it accessible is two things. One, we make sure that the technology itself is easy for restaurants' guests.
Right.
If you think about it, even a restaurant wanted to do something with NFTs, they have to figure out that barrier. How do we get it so that people now know what an NFT is, but how do you get one? That could, in the normal world in Web3, where that's not addressed, you have to open up an account on an exchange to turn dollars into Ethereum. Then you have to move it to a wallet. Then you have to connect that wallet, crypto wallet, to another external site. That's too complicated for the mainstream audience. So we demystify that. We can make it no more complicated than a social sign-on or an email address. And then that's half the equation. That's an important part. The other part is actually making it so that the experience for the guests on the other side of doing that is relevant.
Right.
And then you have to kind of get into that crazy world of restaurant operations. Restaurants already use, and I could say in some cases, too many technologies.
Right.
It gets overwhelming. So everything related to NFTs has to tie in seamlessly, without friction, to the restaurant operations. And that's where we come in. We help with the how. We help make sure that that owner of an NFT just ties right into the existing technology, so that you don't have to train your staff. You don't have to go through a complicated implementation.
Right.
It's just seamless. And that's how any technology needs to work to be successful.
Sure.
And Web3, part of driving that successfully in the restaurant world means always addressing operations.
That's amazing. Chad, I really appreciate your time today. Really glad to run into you and see you here at NRA. Look forward to keeping track of what you're doing. And thanks for making life a little bit easier by building a tool we're all going to end up using sooner than probably later.
Oh, absolutely, Troy. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.